I swear, some idea is just thrown out there and everyone thinks it sounds good, so it must be true. Check it out.
Love isn't enough. It's not.
The sad truth is that love will never be enough to save your relationship.
Yeah, love's not enough. You know, experts who say this are either one, just trying to be contrarian for contrarian's sake, or two, have a fundamental ignorance around why we do what we actually do in relationships. Let me ask you a question. When you were first head over heels for that woman, I mean, she couldn't leave your mind if you tried. And you would have done anything to be with her, right? And if love isn't enough, then why does she say, I'm no longer in love with you anymore when she is done? I mean, love is the one variable that makes her with you or not. It's love is all that matters to work in a relationship. You see, the reason why this is because if she loves you fully, she will do anything to make it work. She treats you based on how she feels. Therefore, why would it not make sense that when you get her to fall back in love with you again, she'll do whatever it takes to make it work again? In fact, my man, underneath the communication techniques, the trust building exercises, the resentment healing, and so on and so forth, all that stuff that I teach guys, how to get their wives back. At the end of the day, I'm teaching them to get their wife to fall back in love with them. That's it. So in this video, I will teach you 3 principles to get her to artfully fall back in love with you again. Years and years ago, a scientist so obsessed with love, he just decided, you know what, my wife is leaving me and I have to figure out because she is no longer in love with me. So what actually causes women to fall in love? And this man broke it down into a triangle, 3 components of the perfect loving relationship. And he found with couples that he interviewed that the couples that had this perfect 3 chemical concoction of love, they're the ones that stood the test of time. Right? And they're the ones that were extremely happy with each other. Now, there is the love of logic, which is based in the head. And that leads to intimacy, when you know each other logically, the values. And most married couples, they don't struggle with this unless the man is really, well, he struggles opening up about his own emotions. So if that is you, you struggle with intimacy. Then there's the love of attachment placed in the heart, leading to things like commitment. And finally, the one that most men struggle with, the love of polarity placed in the soul that leads to passion. The love she lost with you, most likely, is this last one. And you probably know that's true, right? Women need to feel alive in the relationship. They need to feel that like he is the guy. But most men, when they get complacent, they think that love is just the commitment and the intimacy. Oh, we know each other. We have our routine. We're happy. We're at peace. But more especially, women need to have that sense of polarity, that passion, that magnet of masculinity to femininity that brings out the sexual connection, right? Which is kind of ironic because a lot of the guys, they're the ones that struggle and complain about not having enough sex. And that's what the first symptom of a woman falling out of love is, the lack of physical connection. But they fail to realize that they lost the love of polarity. Now, there's plenty of videos on this channel going over how to pass your tests, how to be a leader, how to increase your masculinity, reduce neediness. You can check them all in the channel down below. All of those things will increase the polarity. But let's get to the next principle. I'm gonna let Liz explain this principle when it comes to a woman's perspective in falling in love. So with this principle, I'm gonna have this little box here. Now, when it comes to love, we all want this sense of freedom, yet support. It's this, we're very complicated creatures, right? We're very dualistic, where we want 2 things at the same time. We want a sense of novelty, but also we want security and stability, okay? So we have these dual needs. And when it comes to love, it's no different. We want autonomy and freedom, but we also want to be supported and guarded at the same time to feel safe. Now, there are 2 types of men that really push a woman's love away. The first is the controlling guy. I want you to imagine that your emotional repertoire of relating to her and the types of boundaries you set up with her can be this box. And if she's in this box, she could feel she's in there, she's closed off, and you do not let her leave. She does not feel safe if you are trying to confine her, right? No one wants to feel confined or controlled. And a lot of times the wives complain when we talk to the guys first coming to the program. They're like, yeah, she's calling me controlling, I don't know why. But it's like, man, when you say like, no, you're gonna do this, you think you're being masculine. You think that you're being this like confident, like assertive guy, but you're being aggressive. And there is a fine line between being assertive and aggressive. Okay, I'll teach you that line in a second. But the other type of guy we see is, you know, with his box, it's completely just, I don't want to break it, but it's like dismantled. There is no box. And this is the guy that says, hey, you can do whatever you want. That's fine. I don't care. Like, I'm going to be chill. I don't want to be controlled. I don't want to be that guy who's controlling. I'm going to be nice. I'm going to let you do what you want. And I know this may seem complicated, but a woman doesn't want you to do whatever the hell she wants. She doesn't want to get away with anything. She wants to respect you. She wants to come up against your boundaries so you say no. She likes being told what to do if it goes against your values. All right. So you also have to be the guy that allows for the space, which is why if we take off this controlling piece and we have this open box. This is the guy that she wants to be with. You see, this box resembles all the clear boundaries that you have. Like, oh, you don't allow her to speak to you that way. Okay, you're expecting her to communicate with you with a certain frequency. You don't allow these name calling. You expect that you want physical affection in a relationship. I'm making up these boundaries. You have to have your own as a man. But there's this sense of openness and freedom. Okay, and the way this looks was with a client I was talking with last night, right? His wife is giving mixed signals. She's saying that, oh, it's done, I want a divorce. She's going to see a divorce lawyer, all these things. But at the same time, she's planning to put in a giant chandelier in their house together that they own. She's planning trips with him to go to Belize in a couple of months. And it's like, yes, she's in the dual mind narrative we talk a lot about in the channel. But he was a little bit too aggressive. He was like, hey, we're gonna sit down, we're gonna work this out. Like, I know you, you know me, right? And that's using logic and trying to convince her and cajole her to be with you. And at the end of the day, that doesn't work. And I told him what you have to say is this instead. You say, look, I want to be with you. And I'm gonna fight my damn hardest to show you that I am the man that's gonna keep you. But at the same time, if you don't wanna be in this relationship anymore, I'm just not gonna force you to do it. I love you, I want you, and at the end of the day, I'm gonna fight for you. But I'm never gonna force someone to be with me that doesn't wanna be with me. And that's it, man. That's it. The third principle is that love is a mirror. Now I'm gonna get really cliche on you here for a second, okay? Jared, my client, was in tears. Not just a lone tear streaming down his face, but I mean like weeping like a baby, right? His wife just said, I love you again. Like just 8 weeks ago, he was crying just as much, but for the exact opposite reason. His wife said, I haven't loved you for the past 5 years. Ooh, ouch, right? Ouch. He didn't get it. Much like you, he could pull on receipts of all these memories and his wife being affectionate and loving across the previous 5 years. So, I mean, was she faking it this whole time? Jared took a long and figurative look in the mirror, and he didn't like what he saw. You see, I gave him this dumb exercise that you can try yourself after this video. I told him to look in the mirror and say, I love you, I love you, and then report back the truth of those words. How true does it feel when you look at yourself in the eyes in the mirror and say that you love yourself? You see, Jared got to the core about why, when he said that, he didn't feel like he deserved it. He said to me, Josh, I've done things to hurt her. I don't feel good enough for her. Eureka. That was the root of the issue. You see, we know you accept the love you think you deserve, okay, even if it's subconscious. And we look back at all the times that he raised his voice, got defensive, that he stayed late at work, or he just wasn't there for her in the present moment. And it all came back to this core tenet that he didn't love himself. So what did Jared and I do? We fixed it. And now he loves himself so damn much. But what did he do to become loving toward himself? I mean, it was better boundaries. It was self-care, like going to the gym, hanging out with friends, finding things he was passionate about again, going towards his purpose. And his wife saw all that self-love that she could not but help but love him just as much as he was loving himself. And when it comes down to it, that's what it is. Because now when Jared looks at the mirror, he smiles and almost winks at himself because he knows there's no price you can put on authentic self-love. And at the end of the day, behind all this stuff going on with her and you, if you truly loved yourself to your core and accepted yourself and the things you've done, you gave yourself compassion, you would give her all of that as well. Hurt people. And at the end of the day, when you can get to that core, just acceptance of who you are, all of this will become autopilot for you. I know a lot of men, when they're struggling in their marriage and they're just thinking to themselves, I can do this on my own. You know, I still want to fight to make this work. Maybe you've gotten to a point in your marriage where things have been bad and you've turned it around. I'm never one to try to put this box on you and convince you any differently, but I'll just let you know that things will often get worse before they get better unless you do something different. And so if you're thinking to yourself, man, I think I could do this on my own, but things aren't getting better, setting up a free call never hurts, right? We have a lovely team that's gonna work with you on that call, but we only allow calls for guys that are fully committed and ready to invest emotionally 100% and invest financially. And one more caveat here is we only talk to guys that will take full responsibility for their side of things. I know she's not perfect, but at the end of the day, we're not gonna get on that call and just say, hey, we can change your wife. We can help you become the best version of yourself that will influence her. And that's what we help men do. And that's how we help men win their wives back. So that sounds like you, and we wanna save your marriage. Set up a call down below. Much love to you. Cheers.